Any views, thoughts, and opinions expressed on the Rejuvenating Health podcast are solely those of the speakers and are intended as such. Please consult your trusted healthcare practitioner for medical advice. Let's go, girls.
All right, we're just going to say it. GLP-1s are not going anywhere.
We haven't done an episode on these in a while, and they are not even close to going anywhere. They're exploding right now, and honestly, I don't want them to go anywhere. I think that they're great drugs if used in the right situation.
Yeah, like if they're used correctly, that's the thing. And I mean, they can be a super powerful tool, but I think what we're going to talk about today is that that's not always the case.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, like, here's my hot take. I'm seeing just as many disasters with them as I am success stories.
But we only get the success stories and the highlight reel and the promo and the advertising versions for them.
Exactly. So here's kind of the reality that doesn't get talked about. I'm talking about like your sunken in face, your hair literally just like falling out, the muscle wasting, the osteoporosis. They can be gut wrecking. I mean, we're talking like full on malnutrition that these people are having.
Yes. And you would think that those things would be enough to stop people in their tracks, but
no, people will do anything to get skinny.
Right.
And it's not even skinny, it's like skinny fat. Sorry, like a hat, you know what I mean? But yeah. Okay, here's the part that matters. It's not the drug that's doing it. The drug is not bad. Like, the drug is amazing. Like, the stuff that drug can do as far as weight loss, inflammation, the drug is amazing. Like, one of the best tools and things that has come out of medicine. It's how the drug is being used. That's the issue.
Yeah, and the reason why we're talking about this today is because this side of it doesn't get talked about enough. And unfortunately, we're probably not that far off from seeing a pretty massive health crisis when it comes to the use of GLP-1s.
Yeah, and some of this is why, I mean, I talk to people all the time that don't lose any weight on a GLP-1. Zero pounds. So let's talk about like what GLP-1s actually do. And I know that we've done this before, but it's good to rehash it out. So let's ground this in some physiology. GLP-1 receptors live in your hypothalamus, which is part of your brain that controls hunger. So when you take a GLP-1, it activates lots of it activates these neurons for satiety. It suppresses neurons for hunger. So it makes you less hungry and feel fuller.
Yeah. So it's basically telling your brain, sending messages to your brain that you do not need food.
Right. So if you're someone that's already eating 800 calories, you don't need less food. Like,
right.
So your body though, like your brain is saying, okay, I'm full. I don't need more food. But your body, your muscle, your thyroid gland, your mitochondria, which are your energy cells, like they still need fuel. They still need nutrients to work properly. Yeah.
So now there's a mismatch because your brain is like, no food needed here. No, thank you. Right. When the salesman comes to the door with the food and your body's like, but wait, we actually really need that. Like, please feed us.
Yeah. Like appetite's gone, but your biological demand is still there.
Because our body's still, hopefully functioning. Like if you're not using lifestyle habits, maybe it's not functioning as ideally as it should, but you're still breathing, working, doing all the things that you would do on a day-to-day basis. So the need for caloric energy doesn't disappear with the hunger hormone.
Yeah, exactly. So this is where we get fired up. No one's telling people, like, you go to your PCP and you get put on standard dosages, and every 4 weeks we're going to increase that dosage. No one's talking about how the doses are way too high. If you're losing weight on a GLP-1, you should never be increasing the dosage. You're getting these from an online company. They're not monitoring your weight. They're not monitoring your side effects. They're not monitoring your duration. They're not talking about cycling on and off of them. They're not coaching your behaviors. They're not talking to you about your nutrient deficiencies, like your protein and vitamins and nutrients and all of that type of stuff. It's like, here you go.
Yeah. And they're definitely not talking about, what's needed to support that weight loss journey as far as, like you said, like the protein, but also movement and lifestyle habits.
Yeah, like the muscle loss that you can get on them is real. And it's a lot more than just eat protein. Your muscle preservation requires muscle protein synthesis, so NPS. That means that at every meal, you have to hit this 2.5 to 3 gram leucine threshold, which is essentially 30 grams of protein 3 times a day. And you have to have a resistance training stimulus. So walking is not enough. So you're looking at doing 1.6 to 2.2 grams of kilogram for protein, which is a huge math equation. Just eat 30 grams of protein 3 times a day.
Per meal, right? So we're targeting a minimum of 90 grams of protein a day. But most women, honestly, most women in general, let alone most women that are taking a GLP-1, are maybe averaging 40 to 60 grams a day.
Yeah, and you should eat your protein first, because here's what happens. Like, you'll sit down to eat a meal and you literally cannot eat anymore on those GLP-1s. Right. They're like, I can't, that protein, like eating another bite of that steak makes me want to like throw up. So you have to prioritize the protein first. And I'm not talking about protein shakes. I'm like eat your protein. And if you're only eating 40 to 60 grams of protein a day, it puts you in a constant state of muscle breakdown instead of muscle growth.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, you're losing weight, but you're losing the tissue that you want to keep. You're losing the tissue that is going to drive your metabolism and your endocrine function and, all the things that we talk about when we talk about muscle-centric medicine and the ways that it's beneficial. And not to mention how that affects women specifically when we look at bone density and osteoporosis risk and things like that long-term down the line.
Which is why if you do it this way, you stay on them forever, because as soon as you come off, you gain all the weight back because you've lost all that protein or all that muscle, protein and muscle.
Yeah.
So we're really concerned about muscle mass. We're also concerned about metabolic adaptation, especially your thyroid. When your calories drop too low, we see this all the time. Reverse T3 goes up, T3 goes down, and your metabolism kind of just halt, we're done. And it's not like you can't just throw thyroid meds on it, because then you're suppressing your thyroid function even more. You have to feed your cells.
Yeah. And so then you have this unfortunate combination where not only are you just eating less, but your body is becoming more efficient on holding on to that weight because it's trying to adapt and achieve that homeostasis with the thyroid function.
So then when you come off, you've lost the muscle, but then also you've tanked your thyroid function. So now you have no metabolism and you have no muscle, and you're like, oh, there's that weight, like right back on that I lost. And this is why people rebound so hard
fast. I was gonna say that's why, like, when they do go off of it, they see the weight come on even faster than they thought was possible, or like how it's happened before when they've rebounded off of diets.
Yeah, exactly. And then there's a lot of studies about bone loss. Like, I've seen a lot of pictures and studies about the bone loss. And again, if you're doing this right, it's not going to happen. But this one's massively under discussed. And for women, it's so important because we're such at risk for osteoporosis when we go through menopause. But rapid weight loss plus low intake, your bone's going to break down. You're going to have increased bone breakdown, decreased bone formation.
Yeah, so you're like literally losing like the infrastructure of your body that's needed for support.
They're like becoming sponges. Like your bones are becoming sponges. And without that protein, without some vitamin D and K2, and without strength training, like you're just going to keep going on that path. And there is a certain age in women that once you have that bone loss, you're not getting it back.
Right.
It's done. Your it's only downhill from here. And, you're 80 and you have osteoporosis and you're one hip fracture away from death because you're not recovering from that. Then we also have this electrolyte issue that happens, which makes people not feel good, essentially. So let's talk about sodium, because this is a huge miss with GLP-1s.
Yeah, this one never gets talked about.
Yeah. So when your insulin drops, which a GLP-1 is going to drop your insulin, your kidneys excrete more sodium. And so your fluid loss increases. So then your RASS system activates. And this is why people start to feel really bad.
Yeah, they get like dizziness, fatigue. A lot of people will complain of chronic headaches.
Right. And everyone's like, drink more water. But it's not water that you need. You need electrolytes. You need some sodium because of the fluid shifts that are happening. And I think this is the one that we probably need to hit the most on, is the gut.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that GLP-1s can be healing for the gut, or they can destroy the gut. And it depends on how you do it. GLP-1 slow gastric emptying. Like it literally slows down the movement of your food. I've also seen them, if you get on too high doses, cause a lot of diarrhea. Like lots and lots of diarrhea. So you can get constipation. You can get SIBO, so bacterial overgrowth. You can get bloating. You can get poor enzyme activity. Like you're talking about not being able to absorb any of your nutrients that you're eating.
Well, and then there's like no motility. So the food that you are consuming, what little amount you are able to get in is like just, it's sitting there. And that's
like
where,
fermenting.
Yeah. And that's where we have this disruption to your gut microbiome. It's like things are not processing the way they normally should. And so that the gut is a very sensitive ecosystem. Like everything has to remain in balance. And when we throw off the process that it's supposed to go through to naturally break down and empty, then we're causing a backup essentially.
Yeah. So then you've got really low intake and then really poor absorption of your nutrients. And I have also seen studies of people on GLP-1s getting depression and it tanking their libido. And literally they're just feeling like trash. And I'm exhausted. Why? Well, duh, you're not eating food. So your low intake is causing low B vitamins, hello energy, low iron and ferritin, hello anemia, low magnesium. I can't sleep. All these things are required for ATP production.
Yeah. And like you talked about before with the mitochondrial need, right? Like your cells are underfueled or underfed. Like they don't have the energy to operate the way that they should either.
Yeah. So you're not just like losing weight. You're literally having like an energy collapse. Like, yes, the weight is coming off, but your whole body is becoming depleted. And that ties back into what you're seeing with the mood and the neurotransmitters. Like, we're seeing people on these really high doses that are losing weight really fast, having anxiety and depression and feeling flat. And it's because they're literally have low intake, which means low amino acids from their protein, which means low serotonin and low dopamine.
Yeah, so they're not going to be feeling like themselves. But, this also gets tied back to the gut function, right? So we've talked before about the gut-brain connection and like how much of our serotonin and our dopamine receptors are, connected to what's happening in our gut. So all of that has to be taken into account. We reference all the time the fact that the body is a full functioning system. And when you disrupt part of that system, you're disrupting other things. Nothing's isolated. And
exactly.
The terrain, thinking about it as a full terrain, that's going to be a problem. When you think about, I think that people really want to look at this as a drug, but at the end of the day, that's not necessarily the best way to look at it.
No, this is not a drug problem. It is a terrain that you're bringing the drug into problem.
Yeah. Like it's not the drug that's the issue, but it's because like we're using it that way.
We're using like it's not in a
like as
way.
A drug, not supplementally.
Yeah, like if you're bringing it into a terrain that is already nutrient deficient, it's already chronically inflamed, it already has your gut's already compromised, you already have hormone dysregulation, GLP-1s are not going to fix it. They're going to literally break open that bomb and explode it.
Yeah, it's going to exasperate whatever issues are coming up because you're going to be able to highlight like, oh, imagine like a traffic jam is backed up and it's like just moving traffic slowly. But as soon as one of those cars hits and it comes to a dead stop, everything behind that down the chain is now disrupted. Right now it's all at a dead stop. So it's not that you're just, targeting one area, what we think of as like fat loss. It's disrupting all of these interconnected systems within the body. And then if one thing or two things, usually multiple things are already off, it's going to sound alarms to say, oh, now this shit is really awry.
Yeah. And again, we use GLPs.
Yeah.
I think they're great. We have patients that use them that are crushing it.
So let's look at can we talk about what it looks like when they're used correctly?
Yeah. I mean, on our patients that are crushing it on GLP-1s, we've fixed the root problem first. Like we've made sure that their hormones are optimized, that they're strength training, that they're weight training, that they're eating 100 grams of protein a day, that they're getting in enough electrolytes, that they don't have these crazy gut issues, that their labs are getting monitored, that their nutrition is like not pizza. It's like good whole foods. We're putting them on the lowest dose possible and not raising it unless we're like absolutely have to. And we have a clear exit strategy. Like we know exactly what we're going to do to come off of it.
Yeah. So in that way, it's treated again like a supplemental tool.
Yeah. Not a crutch.
Right. Yeah. And the mindset component of this is really important too, because I think, again, this is why the coaching is so important when we look at these processes, because, people want the shot to replace their discipline. They, a lot of times it's viewed as that easy button, and I can totally understand the appeal and why that is.
Yeah. I mean, the truth is the shot, like, it's very enticing. This is very enticing when your friend is like lost all this weight and you're like, what'd you do? And they're like, all I did was go on GLP-1. I didn't have to change my nutrition or exercise or anything. And then you go on a GLP-1, you're like, damn, I spent $700 this month and I didn't lose a pound.
Yeah. But if we could look at it as the way that we were talking about before, right? Like applying it to an already solid foundation, at the end of the day, like the GLP-1 is creating an opportunity. And then what you do with that opportunity is everything. And this is just like anything else. It's just that this allows us to collapse the timeline a little bit more, where we would be able to see results. We can see them quicker, but again, it's an opportunity to see quicker results. It depends on what you do with that opportunity and how you act accordingly when you're using it as a tool to aid you in that process, as opposed to, surrendering to it and signing off and saying, well, I don't have to do any of these things, these other things, because I'm taking this and it's going to take care of it for me.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like bariatric surgery. Why do you think people who go through bariatric surgery have to go through like months and months of counseling and show that they're going to change their eating habits? Like GLP-1s can be just as life-changing as bariatric surgery, and those people literally have to go through counseling and show that they can change their behaviors before they
because of the damage that can happen if they don't after they get the surgery.
Right. But no one's talking about that with GLPs.
But the damage is just as likely, just in a different capacity.
If we keep at this rate as a society of just like throwing GLP-1s on everyone without adding a coaching component to it, or without like actually fixing the terrain that it's going in, we're going to continue to see more metabolic damage, more rebound weight gain, more nutrient depletion, like literally more unhealthier people, even though they're getting weight off.
Yeah. And unfortunately, because we're dealing with, big pharma, big drug companies that are marketing these medications, it's not good. Like people aren't going to connect it back to they have a really hard time connecting it to the like, oh, I didn't do the right things when I was taking this drug. It's just constantly what we hear all the time is, oh, it just didn't work for me. Or, that's it. That one didn't work for me. So let me try this other one. Let me try this other name brand one. And I'll just like cycle through all the different options. Now, that's not to say that there aren't certain ones that are better suited for different people. There's a lot of nuance to that. And just like HRT, it's a little bit of an art form. And that's even more why it's important to work with a coach to be able to see how your body's responding to it. But again, the entire point is that you are aiding this medication. Like you're doing everything that you can within your control to be able to prevent the worst case scenario as far as symptoms go and what the bad things that could happen to your body, and also to make sure that you are getting what you want out of it. Like it can be really great, like you said.
I mean, I don't know how many people that we've worked with that have been on a GLP-1 in the past and haven't lost any weight. And then we fix the terrain and they're like chugging away and they have a clear exit strategy and they're not just like throwing their money down the toilet.
Yeah. And I also want to name that it's hard to do those two things simultaneously out of the gate, which is why most of our clients, like if they come to us and they're itching to get on a GLP-1, like that's not the purpose of the program. And we're very quick to say, we need to be able to improve lifestyle habits for a certain period of time first before we go there, because it's doing you a disservice. If we say, okay, we'll put you on a GLP-1 and then simultaneously, we're going to try to get you to increase your protein by double what you're currently eating. Start working out when you're feeling like shit because you're taking this medication and you're not eating enough on it. Like that's just counterintuitive and it's not actually serving its purpose. That is why we set the stage with improving the lifestyle habits first and getting you to a place where that becomes the new default, the new normal. And then we can introduce the aid of the tool of the medication. But if we try to do them at the same time, then it's not going to serve you in the long run. And you're going to run into the same issue that what we've discussed in this episode.
Yeah. I mean, there's not hardly any patients that we stick on one right at the beginning, unless
there's like outliers.
Is really dialed in. Yeah, there's gonna always be outliers. Like that's why everyone's an individual and we treat everyone like an individual. But there's, that's why we built what we did. So if you're on a GLP-1, if you're thinking about a GLP-1, if your friend's on a GLP-1, if you're curious about a GLP-1, like, share this, send us a question. We're happy to answer, all of those types types of things, but we just want people to use these safe and effectively, because we do believe that they're a really, really great tool, but we do believe that they can also cause a lot of damage because we've seen it.
Yeah. It's, again, just like anything else that you're taking into consideration when it comes to medical intervention, there's always a good and a bad to everything. And so can you be an advocate for your health? Can you be responsible in the way that you're using it? And can you seek support and help to make sure that it's being facilitated properly?
Yeah. So like and share, give us a 5-star review. GLP-1s are not a tool to create health. They create a healthy metabolic environment, and then your habits decide whether you're whether it's going to build you or break you, essentially.
Yep, exactly.
All right.